Miller.
Here.
Mrs. Hausfeld.
Here.
Let the record show all 7 members are present. Members of council, what is your pleasure on the written minutes of the May 28th council meeting?
Mr. President,
Ms. Bettinghouse.
make a motion to approve the written minutes of the May 28th council meeting.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Bettinghouse, second by Mr. Tobergte to approve the written minutes of the May 28th council meeting. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Mr. President,
Mr. Tobergte.
no's not on your agenda, but Peggy's got that public hearing for the county budget.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I apologize.
That's
I did
okay.
see it here, and I was thinking we were going over it. All
That's
right,
okay.
at this time, I will turn the meeting over to Auditor Mr. Quinn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sorry. This is the public hearing for the 2021 tax budget of the Village of St. Bernard. This budget will be submitted to Hamilton County for their review and action. I would like to acknowledge the mayor for helping prepare this budget and coordinating the budget requests with the village department heads. The 2021 tax budget reflects the village's general fund, which is the basic operating fund of the village. The estimated revenue for 2021 is for earned income tax, $10,200,000. Expected general fund receipts from property taxes, $1,100,000. And total local tax receipts is which gives it an estimation of $11,300,000. Estimated revenue from state and county from revenue sharing and certain taxes and permits, $202,200. Other expected revenue for the Village of St. Bernard comes from charges of services for $375,000, fines, local licenses and permits, $100,000, and miscellaneous revenue of $680,000. This brings a total estimated general fund revenue for 2021 to $12,657,200. The expenditures. Within each class of expenditures in the tax budget, estimated costs are itemized for personnel, contractual services, supplies and materials, and equipment or capital outlay. The classification is as follows. For security of persons and property, which is our police and fire departments, $4,840,000, $306.76. Public health services, $6,100. Leisure time activities, which is our parks and recreation, $253,856.52. Basic utility services, which is our service department, $1,395,250. Transportation, which is our dial-a-ride, $28,500. And general government for $2,510,883.24. We are also estimating a transfer from the general fund to other funds such as the streets, the swimming pool, the debt service, master plan, and employee health plan being approximately $3,600,103.48. This brings us a total expected general fund expenditure for 2021 to $12,635,000, which brings us a zero balance budget that I will report to that county. And that concludes my report.
Any questions on that? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, this time we'll go to reports of administrative officials. Mayor, Mr. Stuchel.
Thank you, Mr. President. First off, I'd like to thank our community for being so strong. We've been living through some very difficult times and has affected us all. I'd also like to thank the auditor for all of her hard work on the preparation for the summer budget for Hamilton County. I'd also like to announce that our police department will have 2 new officers who will have staggered starting dates over the next 2 weeks, and I will introduce them upon being sworn in. Also, we have the chief will be looking into the potential implementation of body cams. Now we are in a position with our police department where we actually have 2 police clerks that are there during the day from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. who would be able to manage the data storage. So we will be looking into that and the financing options and potential for implementing that program. Also, I have asked Mr. Paul to look into the cost of potentially restriping part of Ross Avenue with the increase in some of the accidents that we have had. I know there's been some discussion that in the past, and actually eliminating the one curb lane in the eastbound side of Ross Avenue. Mr. Paul will be talking with some of our engineers regarding that and the cost for restriping that. Hopefully that will have some effect, eliminating individuals from being able to pass on the right-hand side. So we are going to look at that, and there's already been, we're not going to pay for another traffic study that's going to basically kind of tell us the same thing. But we will be talking about that and maybe talking to some of the residents to how that may impact parking, but we do want to explore some of that for right now. So thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Auditor, Ms. Brickway, we have discussed the items needed for the tax levy.
Yes. What I provided all of council is Resolution 6, 2020. This is a second step in the levy renewal process in case the levy does not pass in August. Resolution 6, 2020 also includes the certificate that we received from Hamilton County. This is required by the Board of Elections, so the levy can be placed on the ballot, and it has to all be there before we even vote in August. So this is, hopefully we won't need this, but I'm just trying to be prepared just in case. So I'm asking if you could please put that on the agenda for the next council meeting.
Mr. President,
Mr. Tobergte.
make a motion to put Resolution 6 on the agenda for next council meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Tobergte, second by Mr. Ray Culbertson to place the resolution number 6 for the tax levy on the table for next meeting. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
I have one more thing. I also put in everybody's mailboxes the May 2020 revenue, expense, and cash fund spreadsheets. As of the end of May, the revenues were up $278,121.92, and the expenses are down $492,425.65 compared to last year. And that's all I have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Law Director, Ms. Van Valkenburg.
Thank you. I recently met with the members of the Law, Contracts, and Claims Committee regarding a possible anti-discrimination ordinance. The mayor was also in attendance, as were several members of the community. Based on our discussions, I've incorporated some of the suggested changes to the draft ordinance, and I'm actually awaiting additional information and input from some interested persons before I circulate a second draft to the members of the committee. We have a date scheduled to meet again later this month to review and discuss. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President, can I ask a quick question on that?
Yes.
I was asked about that. Do we have examples besides the city of Cincinnati, if any other municipalities? Do a lot of municipalities have this? Because I'm just here in city of Cincinnati. Like smaller ones like us?
Yellow Springs, Gulf Manor.
Okay.
I mean, there are some smaller communities, a number of the medium-sized communities around the city, most of the major cities have them as well.
Okay, I was just asked
And
that
I have,
question and I didn't
yeah,
know.
I have copies of a lot of those
That's
in
okay,
my
I was
office.
just asked because they kept talking about the city of Cincinnati, and I was asked if any other municipalities around here. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Treasurer, Mr. Unger.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening I received the First State Bank bank statement for the memorial fund that we have with them. The current balance at the end of May, so May 31st, 2020, totaled $5,654.07. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Safety and Service Director, Mr. Paul.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to talk a little bit about the fitness. I am waiting for the insurance company to give us an estimate. Our deductible for that type of damage would be $25,000. The trash, remember we were going up quite substantially. So the first 2 weeks of May was $9,585, and now it's dropping. The last 2 weeks of May dropped to $5,237. So it is going to go back to normal. McClellan Avenue is on target. They'll start here shortly, and then it'll end before the end of July. It's not a big project, but it's a necessary one. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Tax Commissioner / Administrator, Ms. Helms.
Thank you, Mr. President. The tax collections for May were $582,703. Tax refunds for May were $108,913.40. The village is up 2.18% in tax revenue from May of 2019. Due to the 715 extension to file, only 33.6% of taxpayers have filed their 2019 city tax return. I just want to remind everyone to file early, as lines may be long on July 15th. The tax office hours are 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's also a drop box available. It should be noted that only complete tax returns can be processed. A complete tax return would be signed and dated on your St. Bernard tax form. Attach all W-2 and federal schedule information. Attach page 1 and 2 of your federal return. Zero tax returns must have supporting documentation for financial support. Tax returns not meeting these requirements cannot be processed and will be returned to you by mail. All returns and payments are due by July 15th, 2020. As always, if you have any questions, please give me a call at 242-7710. That concludes my report.
Thank you. This time we'll move to reports of standing committees. Finance, Mr. Tobergte.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to thank Congressman Shabbat for delivering lunch to the Safety Center today. Also, Don and Lily Mittendorf will be having their Matthew 25 Ministries collection of latex paint, highly used clothing, cleaning supplies on Saturday, July 18th from 9 to 11:30 in lower level City Hall parking lot. Concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Safety, Mr. Ray Culbertson.
Thanks, Mr. President. I have the police report for May. There was 10 noise complaints, 64 parking complaints, 2 railroad complaints, 2 vehicle thefts, 1 involving a vehicle that was unlocked with keys inside it. There were 20 traffic violations, 25 traffic warnings, and 37 total calls of suspicious people or vehicles. Thankfully, there was no civil unrest in the village due to the tragic incident involving Mr. Floyd. We appreciate everyone's understanding and cooperation during the emergency curfew. There were no arrests made for the curfew violations. Thanks goes out to the residents, business owners, and the police department for their handling of this situation. Lastly, I would like to remind everyone that they can still call 242-2727 for any police matter. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Service, Mr. Schultmeyer.
Mr. President, there's no service report this meeting.
Thank you. Public improvements, Mr. Bob Culbertson.
Thank you, Mr. President. The next CIC meeting is June 16th in the lower level at 6 p.m. And just to let the residents know, the playgrounds are now back open on June 10th. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Wells Contracts and Claims, Ms. Bettinghouse.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Laws, Contracts, and Claims Committee met on June 3rd to discuss the anti-discrimination ordinance. There were 2 main focus areas within the ordinance that were discussed. 1, the content of the ordinance, and 2, complaint procedure. There were only a few changes that were recommended for the content section. There was a great discussion relative to the membership and role of a commission that would be established to hear the complaints for potential violators. The law director is taking all final recommendations to revise the ordinance and will be bringing the ordinance back to the Laws, Contracts, and Claims Committee. That meeting will be held on Tuesday, June 23rd at 6 p.m. in Centennial Hall. Thanks to the Laws, Contracts, and Claim Committee members, Ray Culbertson and Chris Schultmeyer, for their input and recommendations. I also want to thank Mayor Stuchel, Nicole Klungel, and Sean Pratt for attending the meeting and providing very valuable information for consideration for this ordinance. Valerie, thanks for sifting through the many anti-discrimination ordinances across the state of Ohio and creating the most appropriate ordinance for our village. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Marketing, Ms. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have just a couple of updates this evening. The St. Bernard Fresh Market will be hosting its first ever virtual market on June 28th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can receive updates on this event on their Facebook site under St. Bernard Fresh Market. Our recreation department is looking for a few extra people to help work the entry gate at the Frank Robinson Field during the Cincinnati Flames tournament games throughout the summer. The hours range from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Wednesdays through Sundays, starting June 18th through August 9th. This position is for 16 years of age or older at the rate per hour of $10. Please contact the St. Bernard Recreation Department if you are interested. In regards to the German luau, we hope to have more definite answers in regards to this event after July 1st. And this concludes my report.
Thank you. Business and industry, Ms. Housefeld.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. There was no one in the audience, so we will have no audience participation. Then I just see the one resolution for the tax levy to be placed on the table for next meeting. This time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President,
Mr. Ray Culbertson.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
A motion by Mr. Ray Culbertson, seconded by Mr. Schultmeyer to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. We are adjourned.